Hi, I am going to use this video to talk about character. And in doing so, my eyes are going to be shifting over here to the right as I look at some of the parts of this skill up here on my screen. So the first part, which we're really going to drill down on this week, is identify and describe what specific textual details reveal about a character. So just repeat right there. You're looking at the details and then asking yourself, well, what does that tell me? What does that reveal? So it's summarization. It's putting it in your own words. And many times you have to jump to a conclusion. It's more than summary. The author is hinting at something, but what it is, you're going to have to probably use some analysis to come to that conclusion. Then it says, reveal about a character, that character's perspective. So what is their view? What is their worldview? How do they view another character in the story? How do they view themselves? Something along that line. And then the third part says, and that character's motives. That gets at why do they do what they do. Okay, now what you're going to do this week is go look at my video where I actually talk about Sammy and the A&P, and I do talk about why he does what he does, but I also talk about why he says what he says, because he's the narrator of that story. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at 4 other parts to this skill. It's a very complex skill. That was only the first part, and it's the easiest. The second one is explain the function of a character changing or remaining unchanged. So at the end of the year, when you take the AP test, they will oftentimes ask one or the other of those questions. Talk about a character that does not change, or they'll ask you to talk about a character that has changed in some way. So Sammy is a great example of a character that's changed. I won't go into it. It's in that video that I made for you. Okay. Mrs. Mallard is the one that I'm going to have you talk about. Okay. So I'm not sure if you think she's changed or if she has not changed. That'll be up to you to decide, but make sure you have some textual evidence. Okay, the third thing is explain the function of contrasting characters. And in the A&P, it's really easy to see, of course, Lingle, the manager, who chews out the girls for the way they're dressed, basically kicks them out of the store, is very different than Sammy, who sees Lingle's actions as embarrassing. But you could also go back to Great Expectations, and you could look at how much, especially in the whole first part of the novel, Joe is a huge contrast to Pip. The way Joe treats the people he loves, his loyalty, his friendship, how big his heart is, and Pip is oftentimes thinking about his elevation in life, falling into his great expectations and fulfilling them, money, the acquisition of money, etc. Okay. The fourth thing is describe how textual details reveal nuances and complexities in characters' relationships with one another. Sammy in the A&P is a great example of somebody that is complex. He's actually really complex for a short story. So I won't get into that again. Just go look at my video on that. Explain how a character's own choices, actions, and speech reveal complexities in that character, and explain the function of those complexities. So that last thing I just read, that's the 5th part of this skill. Explain the function of those complexities. We're not necessarily doing that this week. We're just trying to, it'd be great if you can see some complexity, but we're not going to try and do that. But I wanted to make a point that that's where we're headed, is what theme, what major message is the author trying to get at by having us look at the complexities within these people. So that really usually boils down to an author basically holding up a mirror and saying, this is your humanity. Okay, thanks for watching.